All right. Organic milk, 2%. I was thirsty. Were you thirsty?
I'm not, but milk sounds good.
This is not like a car block. You can actually pick it up. We were debating how big it was. It's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller.
I was thinking about 18 inches, not a foot. You could sharpen it, didn't you? Sharpening job does not live very long. I'm thinking this thing doesn't work very well. Let's see. Is that better?
A little bit.
Whittle it apart. I think it has more resistance than cutting. This costs a little extra for all this stuff. What that say? Send forward recon junk. I don't think they're going to save this motor.
Nope.
You know why they're not going to save it?
Because it's here.
It's junk.
Too.
I think cutting a cactus would be this motor out of here. All right. Let's hold it together. One bolt. Everything's grade 8 to use on airplanes, I guess. He kept trying to sell me the crank.
You didn't want the crank?
I didn't want the crank. Had zero interest in the crank. You know why?
Tell me.
I'm not going to use it.
There you go.
That was sounding good. So the picture showed a big crack in this thing someplace. See a big crack anywhere?
Not yet.
Me either. Must not be that big of a crack. It's cracked in one of the cylinders. So, just the oil pan, so that's probably down, right? Here's the push rod hole. So that means it goes like this, right? It fits in there and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's marked.
Yeah, it's even numbered.
4. Looks like it's almost dummy proof. How close these things fit together? Ah, they have a big gap in them.
Big gap.
So these must be lifters down here. So, why'd I buy this?
So you can build a super crazy motorcycle engine.
Because I'm going to cut this spigot off of this thing. And I'm going to glue it on top of that case up there. Alright, going to be a lot of cutting.
It's going to be a lot of cutting.
Where's that big crack at? They had a big crack. I don't see it.
There's a lot of gluing. Maybe it's on the other side.
I didn't see it on that side either. There's a big blow up in this motor. That's why they junked it. I do not see where the crack is. I know it went into one of the cylinders.
Maybe on the inside.
No, that was, you could see it. The pictures showed it real good, but the camera, so, blows things up a lot again. I was worried about losing one of the spigot holes, because I need all of them. They get all the powder on here where they checked it with the Dicom stuff. I don't see, there's a whole bunch of that crap all through here, but I don't see any cracks. You don't see any cracks, do you?
Mm-mm.
No crackies. Good. Well, whatever's cracked doesn't matter. Because I don't see it. It means it doesn't matter. Because I'm not using the crack part anyway. That's going to be a lot of cutting to get rid of all this crap. You know how many chips that's going to be in a milling machine cutting out crap all down?
Yeah.
That's going to be a couple days of whacking. Get that down to just the thickness of this. All this crap's got to go away. So the bandsaw is going to get busy too. We're going to knock off some chunks. So that's the plan anyway. So I figure if I take the cylinder deck that's already pre-made and weld it to my case, it would save a lot of effort. Plus it's the right side already.
Good idea.
That's what I was figuring. And see, I got the push rod, I got the location of the push rod here also. So if I put that on the case like this, I will see where it's at. Because this is the right side of the case also, obviously. That was a nut I just lost.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, I didn't check to make sure that was the right nut. I'm pretty sure it is. Oh yeah. I have to go online and find some use nuts for 50 cents a piece. They don't have to be airplane certified.
You don't want $50 nuts?
No, I don't need a $50 piece nuts. That's what they cost. 50, 60 bucks a piece. I found a few parts online, but it was just a little more money I'm going to spend. Just a little. So we can't use my 6-inch scale. We're going to have to use professional tools to measure this shit.
All right.
Pull out the tape measure. So, from the left side of the case, which is over here, over to my push rod location, looks like we're about 8 1/8 on center, minimum. Where does that put the bore at? How big is the bore anyway? Looks like the case is about 5.4 inches in diameter. What's the OD on this thing? The OD is 7.5 almost. So that'd be 3 3 3/4 would be center point of your cylinder. See, this looks like 3.5 is on center. Hey, they got those two studs right, and it looks like on the center. It's convenient. 3 3/4 on center. So if I take the center of the case, so we need to be about 4.5 inches push rod center. Just under that probably. So how much we got up on the motor up there?
No idea.
That's almost as big as the airplane motor, isn't it?
Yeah.
3 3/4, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's about what that one is. Yeah, that's almost identical where that one's at right now. Look at that. Pretty much right on the money. Pretty damn close. So, and the sportster would be right there, which is over there in the pile. Technically, it's not a sportster, it's a fuel. You know, it looks like a sportster. I gotta do some cutting on this in the bandsaw too. This much here. Haven't found a junk yet. I'm looking for a junk case that's broken here, but I haven't found one yet. So we'll make this a junk one if we have to. Okay, so we got 3 3/4 inches. Is our dimension we need. That's 1 inch spacer to get this over far enough to be on center. That's going to put our, so basically this is going to have our, this lifter would probably just about line up with where we need to put this one over here. The center line of these lifters need to be in the same spot as the inner one on this twin cam. So that means we're going to have the outer gasket surface will be just over 2.5 inches. And this one's 1.5 inches, so it's going to come out 1 more inch, which is good because I was going to put that cam plate on here, and it's going to be about 1 inch thick. So it's going to work out when I cut that thing off. That'll put it out just about the same height as this. I'm going to use this cam plate here, so it's kind of where I was playing back and forth at. But that means we got to go that way 3 3/4. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, I guarantee you that's not going to happen. Only 3 inches here. So that means we got to go 3/4 inch more that way. Because I'm not going to, the edge of the cylinder needs to be here. I didn't want to lose my VIN number if I could avoid it, but when I cut that piece off, it's going to sit on top of this, I think. So that's the next thing I got to do is measure the crank height. It's real nice and split case. Just pull right up against it. See, it's about 4 3/4 inches up to the gasket surface.
Okay.
We're 6.
Okay.
Or 5 3/4. Yeah, about 5 3/4. So what do we have on that one? 4?
Yeah.
This is 5 3/4. 4 3/4, so an inch taller. So that's an inch taller deck.
So how do you fix that?
Longer connecting rod.
There you go.
And then if I put a, let's see, I was going to weld this on top of this, so it'll be 2 inches taller. And as the V angle goes up like this, you gain your clearance for your cylinder.
Okay.
So you got to go up, you got to keep going higher and higher and higher to get for the bore clearance. I'm just going to have to go up. And this is 1 inch tall. So if I welded that deck up onto the case, the cylinder would sit right here. And you just make it work. Pretty much what I was planning on doing. But I'm about to come this way 3/4 inch more, so this has to move out further. So it doesn't look like I need to move the cam cover out any further here. But when I cut this out here, I'll be putting a Sportster case here, even with this edge.
Okay.
And the cam plate, the Sportster cam cover go here, and the twin cam plate would be down here. And then I could use the gear drive off of the twin cam, if I can make the cams clear in here, clear the pump. So I don't know that yet. I got the cams are coming, cam cover's coming. And then the cranks for those ones on the floor over there. These came out of my junk pile. So, it's loose.
A little loose.
Good. So these are junk cranks. So this is a late rod, it's got the taper rod on it. This one here is a solid rod. So I'm going to take this solid rod and I'm going to cut this thing off here. And I'll cut this one off here and I'll glue them together. And I'll adjust whatever length I need to get my height I want. And I can figure out how much of a rod I need to buy, custom made. And then for the crank, an extra crank here. I'm going to take this hole and I'm going to move it up to here and make it, move it up higher.
Okay.
And then I'll weld it all in there. And that'll give me a stroke increase.
Mm.
So if I come up a 1/2 inch, which would be here, that's a 5-inch stroke.
Really? Okay.
If I come all the way up to this edge up here, it'd be 5.5 inch stroke, but I can't go that high because there's nothing to hold it together.
Right. Okay.
Still have something to weld to.
Yeah.
I'm going to weld the piss out of it. So I'm going to weld the crank pin in, so it's going to be a one-time rod bearing setup. It'll be a one-time crank. It'll be a throwaway each time you do it. You have to cut it back apart to get the rod out, but the crank's going to be a toss. But I can probably get this up to 5 1/4 to 5.5 stroke using the Harley flywheels.
All right.
But I won't use Harley because they're weak. I'll buy Ultima flywheels. They're a lot stronger material because these don't stay together for crap. So, but at least for now, I'll go ahead and offset bore the hole in my mill, and then I'll weld the crank pin in there at the longer stroke, and then I can mock up to see what I need for the motor to make the height all work, and how big of a rod I need and all that junk. Then I can make a real crank and make it all fly.
Perfect.
I'm using Harley parts. Can't be too bad. Modified Harley parts. And they said it wouldn't work. I don't see a problem yet. But I want to cut these. I'm going to cut these deck out of here, and I definitely want to glue it on top of that cylinder there. It's just a matter of how much. And if I keep this on there for now, it'll give me a mock-up height. Now that looks like it's at an angle too. It's not straight. Look out from the other side. You have to stand back. You can see it. Is that straight to the deck, or is it perpendicular? Looks like it might be.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Okay, good. Let me see, I can go on the gasket surface here.
That looks like it's leaning to your left a little.
Well, if this is leaning, that means that you would think it'd be leaning too, but. Okay. So I'm going to cut this right through here on both of these. And I'll keep this on here, I'll cut this away. And then I will mock up the push rod location here where the cam will be, and that will dictate where I put the Sportster case in the weld it in. That'll give me an alignment area. And then later I'll cut this off. So I'll have to measure it first, and then I'll have to cut it off to put the Sportster part in there. And then that should give me the coming up part. I'll have to make a push rod seat here. You know, I'll put a plate on here and put a seat on it, so the push rod will sit in it. And I can already put a Harley push rod inside of this. I already checked that.
Oh, perfect.
So I'll just make a Harley push rod down, you know, size down here, not this big ass thing. Make it work that way.
All right.
Make it fly. The push rod will be about that long. The rod will be about that long too.
Wow.
We'll see how big of a stroke I'm going to put in it. If you gotta make custom parts, might as well make custom parts, it'd be worth it.
Yeah.
So the 5 1/4, the square motor would be 227 cubes. So if I put a 5 1/2 stroke to it, it'll be a little more.
All right.
Pick up some more inches.
Yeah.
Probably another 10 or 15 more. That wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
A little putt-putt motor.
Yeah. Sunday cruiser.
Yeah. Run it off to 250. I don't know. We'll see. Probably it'd be too much because the fly was pretty weak. You have to wheel that way out the outside edge like that. It wouldn't be super strong, but how strong does it need to be?
I don't know.
Cars stick out way high.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how we're going to do it. And I'm going to do some kind of a side-by-side rod, I think, too, which is going to be kind of hard to do also. But that's going to require some offsetting, which will not be very strong, but I don't think a knife and fork rod set's going to hold up with as much cubic inches. I don't have enough room. Alright, so we gotta figure out how we're gonna cut this all down. Alright, project for another day. That's it for now.